Hey everybody, this is Sally Millines from Nostalgia Stamping. I just wanted to go over the arrow card fold with you and actually just get an up-close visualization of how the diagonal cuts work and how they can work with your Stampin' Up! Trimmer. It's just a really fun fold. That sounded kind of odd, but it's well worth it. Now, the way I have seen other demonstrators do this fold, sometimes they don't do as many layers as what's demonstrated here, and you certainly don't have to, but I think it adds to it. The more color and the more texture that you can add to a card, the more impact it has, I think. This particular card has a few retired products. Like this is from the Mini Messages set. That's just one of my go-tos. Some of the other things that you might see also are from other stamp sets. And this paper is retired. I think that's, I can't remember, but that was, I believe it was from the January to June. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I can't remember all that after all these years. But anyway, let's get busy. And I just wanted to show you about this particular fold. Of course, to start with, we're going to be using, let's see, 8.5 by 11. We're going to cut it at 5.5. Going to do a score at 4.25. Of course, this is not much different than anything we've ever done before. This is what we usually do. Where we now have to do a few measurements, and I know that might scare a few people off, but it's just a half measurement that we're going to do. Of course, with 4.5, we need to find the halfway point, which is going to be 2 1/8, and a 2 1/8 is going to be right here on your trimmer. And we are measuring from here, okay, we're talking about this 4 1/4 section here. So what we want to do is to line this up at 2 1/8, close the door, and then put your little tick mark right in there. While you've got it there, you're going to need to do one on the other side, so go ahead and do that. Now we need to go to the longer side, the 5.5 side, and we're going to be doing halfway at that point. So we need to do a 2 3/4 measurement. Here's 2 3/4. Close the door and give it a mark. Now, if you can do that, the rest of this is just a piece of cake. So one thing that you want to do, I'll try to zoom in just a little bit for you to see. You're going to take this tick mark, put it in the center of your track, put your fold here in the center of the track. Be sure that you can see that. Okay, here, okay, and here. Oops, I think I zoomed in just a little bit too much there for you. There and there. Close and give it a score. Okay, the first score line. While you're there, hold this point, give it a pivot to your other tick mark on this side. That's in the track, and this is in the track. Close it, give it a score. Okay, 2 score lines. Let's go to the other side, put that right in the track. Okay. Close. Give it a score. Stay here, pivot it to this tick mark, okay, close, and score. And those are your basic 4 score lines for your arrow card. Very simple. The only thing that may be just a little bit what I might refer to as tricky would be the designer series paper and the other cardstock that you add. Basically exactly the same, you're just using a little bit different dimensions. Okay. Let's go ahead and fold this. Okay, the longer of the two, we're going to fold back this way, give it a good burnish. The shorter one, pull it towards you, give it a burnish. Okay, on this side, the longer score line, okay, You're going to go backwards. I was just getting it started. The shorter one towards you, and give it a burnish. That is basically your arrow fold. And now it's just really decorating, okay? Now, you don't want this willy-nilly flying in the breeze. So now we're going to stop and we're going to glue. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue this long section first. Okay. Glue that down. Give it a good burnish. Go to this side. Put some glue on this section. Okay. And hold this out of the way. Give that a good burnish. Now, I call these little things the wings. The wings we are going to be gluing down in just a minute, but we're not going to do that quite yet. I do want to go ahead while I'm here and mark on this back side, just a light mark where this is going to fold down, and that's where we're going to be putting our glue in just a few minutes. Okay, and there we have that. Now let's go ahead, put that aside, and we're going to be doing our other layers. Okay, so for layer 1, we're going to have to cut 3 total for these layers. This layer is going to measure 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So let's bring back our trimmer. Okay, and on this side, we've got 5 3/8, and we need to divide that in half. Now, on this particular section, I just went ahead and demonstrated the math concepts on how to get half of 5 3/8. It's going to be 2 11/16. Now, you think, oh my God, 16ths, how are we ever going to measure that? Let's make it simple. Go to 2 3/4. Okay, go to 2 3/4, back it up to that first line, okay, to that 16th line, okay, 2 3/4, and then back it up to the 16th line. That's 2 11/16, because 2 3/4 is 12/16, okay? So just back it up a little bit, and that is our halfway point. Give it a mark. We don't need the intermittent lines over here. We don't have to do that right now. So here again, let's make our diagonal cuts. We've got a line here, measurement there, close. Okay, give it a cut. Same thing. Save this. Same thing here. Put that in your track. Bring this over. Close it, give it a cut, okay? Save all of your pieces, okay? Now, I said we needed 3, so let's do that again to be sure that we've got that 2 11/16, okay? Here's 2 3/4, back it up to 11/16, close, mark it. Put your mark in the track. Hold it with your finger, bring this side over, okay, close, cut. Same thing to the other side, in the track, corner, in the track, close it, cut, okay, and there we have it. Now, that's got those cuts done. Let's go ahead and cut our next layer as well. The next layer is going to be your designer series paper, and for tonight's card, I have chosen actually 2 pattern papers. This particular one is the 2022-2024 In Color DSP. So this particular layer is going to measure 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, this is layer number 2. We are going to use 2 layers of designer series paper, and then also we need a basic white for the inside to write on. So here we go. We're going to put this time we're talking about 5 1/4. Half of 5 1/4 is actually 2 5/8. So here is 2, 2 1/2, 2 5/8. There. Okay, and you mark it. Okay, hold it in the track. Pull the diagonal over this way. There and there. Low. Oops, I let it move. There and there. Slice. Okay, in the track, hold it with your finger. Pull it over to the track. Close it. Slice. Okay. Now the main pieces that we need for this particular card are going to be these 2 sections. So you can set those aside. This we can save for another card. Now for our other DSP, the same measurements. Now with this busy pattern, this actually comes from the Gingham Cottage DSP. Now with a pattern like this that is so busy, sometimes it's hard to see your measurements and your tick marks. So what I like to do is I like to turn this over to the part that's got a little bit more white to it before I do my measurements. It's going to end up being the same thing though. Okay, 2, and we've got 2 5/8. Close, mark it. See how much better that is to see. Close that. Pull it forward and cut. Put that in the track. There. Close it. Cut. Okay. And we're going to actually be using this side. Okay. Let's do that again. And I think I have this one already marked. I do. So I'm going to put that there. Go to my diagonal there and close it and cut here. See, you'll be a pro at this by the time you get all of these layers cut. Okay. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to put those in just a minute. Now, let's go ahead and start. We can start some gluing. So here we have our main piece. Put our trimmer aside, and let's put our first layer on, which is going to be one of the black layers. Okay, and you need to find your little tick mark there, and it's always going to go down. I just love this Tahitian tide and the black. I just think it looks so good. Okay. And all of these little tick marks, we can just get a nice eraser in just a few minutes and get that taken care of. Our next layer is going to be our nice Gingham Cottage layer. You see how nicely they layer once you just get those initial measurements done. I'm gonna be honest, usually I use Stamp and Seal instead of glue, but on something like this with all of these tight layers and corners and points and cuts, I found that glue is my best option at this point. Now, let's glue in our side pieces. Nope, gotta do another black layer first, excuse me. All right, there. Now, you are going to have a few extra pieces that, of course, you can save for another card. And this does use a good bit of cardstock and designer series paper, but it's well worth it. It's one of the most impressive cards I have worked with in quite a long time. Now, let's use another layer, another black layer that we're going to nestle right in there. Okay. Now we'll use our designer series paper, our In Color designer series paper. Of course, you can use either side. I actually went with the polka dots on this side. It just was a little more colorful to me. Okay. Now, we're going to be stamping on our basic white inside layer that's going to go here. And so now I want us to think about what we're going to do about these wings. I want to put some black cardstock there. Of course, we have already cut our layers here. Now, one thing that we do need to do is that we are going to have to find the halfway point, which I should have done this before I cut it, and I failed to. But we do need the halfway point from here to here. Of course, we cut it this way to start with. So this halfway point, we're talking about layer number 1. And layer number 1 was 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So we need half of 4 1/8, which is 2 1/16. Okay, let's put that on our trimmer, and let's find 2 1/16. Okay, and that's going to be halfway right there. Now, this time we're going to need to go from here down to here, and that's just going to be for our wings. So let's go ahead, make that cut, and I want to show you how this is going to actually fit, okay, in our wing. And as you can tell, it's a little bit fiddly to try to get this lined up like you want it. And this is how I want it to go here. But it's too long on this now. In mathematical terms, I believe we would call this the hypotenuse. So we're going to have to trim that off a little bit. And it's actually going to be hidden, so it's really just going to be a little bit of a guess. I'm going to say about a 1/16. It'll be fine. And let's hold it right there and slice and see how we did. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and glue that one down. Okay, now with this we can go ahead and glue here. Okay, put your glue on this section and nail that down. Okay, we can do our other wing over here, right? So we need a halfway point here. So we're going to do 2 1/16. Okay, we're going on the side, we're going to make a mark there and put it in our trimmer, give it a slice. Remember, I said this one was just a tad bit too long. Move it over and give it a slice. We're just cutting off just a sliver. Okay, and now this needs to fit on this wing. Like I said, it's a little fiddly, so let's, oh yay, I guessed it right first time. Okay. That down. Give this a glue. I'm sorry, I'm always gluing on my trimmer, which I shouldn't do, but it's just a habit. Okay. Now, we've got naked space here that I don't like. So, we'll put that aside, and let's address this. I'm going to use this other black layer. Okay, there's our tick mark. I'm going to put it right in the groove there. And see, the glue is important because you need to give it a wiggle squiggle. Now, all right, remember that other piece of designer series paper that we cut? I want it to go right there. Let me erase this one while I'm thinking about it. Now, isn't that a much prettier inside than just it being naked? Takes a lot more designer series paper, a lot more cuts, but it is well worth it. We're going to put our focal point there. All right, now let's do some stamping. This is our basic white layer that is going to fit right there, but I do want to do some stamping on that first, as well as getting our focal image ready. So what I want to use is this Christmas Scottie set. Now it's listed as Christmas, far beyond Christmas this one is good for. This one won my heart the minute I saw it, because I used to have a little dog back even before I married, and even after we were married, the first several years of our marriage, we had a little dog. She actually was not this type of terrier. She wasn't a Scottie terrier. She was just a little terrier. Had wire hair, but her name was Teeny Boo, and she was my very first baby. I loved her dearly. So that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with this set. We're going to be using several elements from that. Okay, and of course with that set comes a coordinating punch. Very easy to use, very easy to line up. So we're going to stamp that in basic black. Now, I am using the Stamparatus tonight just because with a solid image like this, you really need to stamp it a few times to get a beautiful black image. Oh, well, that was pretty good. Let's give it another go, though. I see a few little spots. You may be wondering about the green layer that I've got in here. This is just an old mat that goes to my Cricut machine. It had lost a lot of its stickiness, so I just whacked it up and I put it in here to hold it, because sometimes my magnets just seem to get in the way. So I just use that instead. All right, let's take this cardstock out, and I'm going to give this a clean real quick. Of course, I'm using the Simply Chamois, and I've just cut it into pieces just so I can use it on the Stamparatus much easier. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to give this a punch. We are going to be using a bow for here, but lining both of them up at the same time is much more brain power than I care to use. So I'm going to do that a little bit differently. One thing with that, what you can do is to just put that right down here. Get your ink. Okay. And we're just going to give this a stamp. The stamp pad was just a little bit too juicy to make this look real pretty, but that will be fine. Now, a lot of times what I will do, if you've got a sketchy image like that, that it doesn't go over the whole cutout, you can take your Stampin' Right marker and fill in a little bit around it. Fill in some of that dead space. And as a matter of fact, you really, instead of stamping it, you could just color it with this either way. And I know that's not the best in the world, but that'll be all right for tonight. That'll be fun. All right. Now, this is going to be part of our focal image, and in order to put that on our card, I'm going to be using the Painted Labels dies. I'm going to be using the little circle, okay, here. So what I want to do is I'm going to use dimensionals, and I'm going to pop up our baby right here. And put him right there. Okay. One thing that I forgot was this little piece here actually goes in the collar, and you can stamp that, or you can just use your marker. I'm gonna try to stamp it just because since I've got it here. There we go. Or you can just use a Stampin' Right marker, and since I didn't do a very good job, I'm gonna fill that in right there. Okay. Now our bow. You can put the bow on the little Scottie, or you can put it above there. And in fact, I'm really not happy with that, so I'm going to do this again. And on my Stamparatus, I have the foam mat on here, so I'm going to see if I can't get a better image here. I still messed that up too, didn't I? Okay, put that in here and give it a stamp. Punch rather. And I'm going to pop this up also on dimensionals, but I'm going to use some smaller dimensionals for that. Put that right there. Okay. And this is actually going to be our focal point right there. I'm going to adhere this with some glue. Okay. Now for a sentiment, I have chosen Sending Hugs. Okay, and that Sending Hugs is actually from Splendid Thoughts. Okay, and I also used a die cut from Simply Succulents. This little die cut right there. I love all of this set. It is, and you can tell it's been one of my favorite sets. I have used it and used it and used it. And we are going to put that right there. And I think I will also pop that up on some dimensionals. Okay. So now all that's left to do is our inside. And we are going to be using another image from our Scottie set. I'm going to use the little Scottie that's sitting upright. Okay, and I have that loaded on the Stamparatus already. And we are going to need our white triangle, and we're going to put him right there. I mean, let's scooch this over just a hair. That looks pretty good. Okay. Get him inked up. I still messed up that corner, didn't I? Okay, let's get him stamped, inked up one more time. Okay, that is good. I'll take that off just so I don't make a big mess. All right, now we still need, we want an inside sentiment at this point. And I'm going to go back to my stamp set, and I want to use You Are Always Loved. And this is it, and I will take this off. Since these are photopolymer, we are going to need to continue to use something with a foam backing. So, and the Stamparatus is here, might as well use it as our backing. And I believe I can just put that in right there. Okay. And just for fun, it's got this little, here's a little wolf in there. We will use that as well. There's so many cute things in this set. I just have had a lot of fun working with this. And we'll put that fun right there. Now, we don't need our little dog floating in the sky. So I'm going to give him just a little bit of ground right there. You still have spaced right here to put your name from Sally, from whoever, if you can give this to somebody else. You can always tack another note on a sticky note, put it on the inside. Okay, let's bring our card back in. And and as you can tell, see, it's not a hard card. Once you get your dimensions and your layers figured out, it goes very quickly, and it's very simple. Okay, I'm going to kind of get this up there where I want to be sure I see that black layer all the way around. And I'm going to erase this tick mark. Okay. Now, as far as embellishments go, I have a few possibilities. I love these classic dots. I want to use some of these white ones. And of course, we'll need our take your pick tool for that. And I'm going to get a little white one. And I'm going to put it there. Get another little white one. Put it there. Another one. I'm just using the same size. Whoops, I missed him. I don't know where that went. There. Okay. And then also, I'm going to go one step more, and I want a little tag on his collar. So I'm going to do that and give him a little silver metallic pearl on there. And then also on the inside, and I just realized I have not filled in his collar on the inside. And I'll just do that with a Stampin' Right marker. One there. Okay. And voila. There is your arrow fold card. And of course you can keep going, do further embellishments. You can also get maybe some Wink of Stella on the bow or whatever. But this particular fold lends itself to really bring life to designer series paper, to highlight it. Simple images on the front, and you're good to go. All right. Thank y'all so much, and I appreciate your endurance as we went through this with all of these different cuts. I will have a PDF on my blog that if you want to refer back to that, you can. And my blog is https://2 nostalgiastamping.blogspot.com.